Hey everyone, appreciate you guys joining as well for today. I'm going to wait a couple minutes for everybody to get logged in and then we'll begin. But if you guys have any questions on anything that we tackled last week, make sure you message me privately in the group chat. But overall today, I wanted to take a look at geometry, which would be lessons 5 and 6 on the platform. So lesson 5, triangles, lesson 5, triangles. Let's click on that triangle. So here, looking at this slide right here, some of the key things you want to remember. Triangle has 180 degrees. The area is base times height times 1/2. Perimeter is obviously sum of all three sides, right? These are just a couple of concepts you want to know for triangles. Things you probably would have learned already. Pythagorean Theorem, right? It's only for right triangles. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. You want to be comfortable with that. And then also you have your 30, 60, 90 and your 45, 45, 90. These are things that the actual formula sheet on the test will be given. Okay? So you're going to get those things on your test and you're going to receive that information and be able to use that to answer any questions as well. So any questions on this slide, let me know. Otherwise, I want to go through and take a look at some of the questions. So let's take a look at here, number one. Number one, this is easy triangles. They're saying the diagonal of a square. So we have a square, the diagonal, which is this, has a length of 2 root 2. So this is 2 root 2. What is the length of one of its sides? So ready? We know a square has 90-degree angles, right? A square has 90-degree angles. So that's 90, that's 90, that's 90. These are all 90, right? Now, when I have a diagonal, let me actually redraw this diagonal so it's a little nicer. Something like that. So when I have a diagonal, it's supposed to cut the angle in half. So what's half of 90? 45. So this is a 45-degree angle. This is a 45-degree angle. So I got 45, 45, 90. Now, if you remember, what is a 45, 45, 90? Well, the rules are x, x, x root 2. So if I know that my hypotenuse is 2 root 2, then I know this has to be 2 and 2. Because 2, 2, 2 root 2. So my answer, what is the length of one of the sides, is 2. Okay. Any questions on this one? To submit. Make sure that you guys are going through these questions on your own along with me as well. Don't just watch me do it. Write it down and put the answers into the online platform so you guys are working through this. Okay? I want to make sure everybody here is practicing. You're going to build up something called muscle memory. All right? Let's do... Okay, I'm going to make a poll. We're going to do question number 3. Number 3. So answer number 3, I want everyone to put your answer into the poll. Read the question and give me your answer. And once again, once you get the right answer, put your answer into the poll. If you don't see the poll, message me directly. Okay, I've got a couple answers. Take another 15, 20 seconds to answer this question. All right, another 10 seconds. Put your answer into the poll. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, I got 16. Okay, I'm missing 2 students didn't vote. So make sure everyone's participating. Put your answers in. Most of you guys said C32. That is the correct answer. Very good. So how do we do this? Well, what do we know about a triangle? We just talked about, we said a triangle has what? 180 degrees. So you just take 180 and you take all these are all angles, and you take these all and add them up. So you do 180 equals 8x plus 25x plus 1 plus 12x minus 1 and add them all. 8x plus 25x is 33x plus 12x is 45x. So we have 180 equals 45x. And then 1 and negative 1 cancel. So then divide both sides by 45. X equals 4. Now once I have x equals 4, I go back and plug it into all of my angles. So 8 times 4, 32. 25 times 4 plus 1 is 101. 12 times 4, 48 minus 1, so 47. And then which one is the smallest? 32. Okay. Any questions, issues, or concerns? For the most part, you guys are okay with that. All right. So let's take a look. They want to know what is the value of theta for this question. They want to know what is the value of theta. So here we know a straight line. You have to remember, a straight line is 180 degrees. So if this is 60, then this right here is 120. And a triangle is 180. So this is 120 plus 35. So that's 155. So 155. And then so this has to be 25 in that case. So this has to be 25 because we need to have 180. So theta is 25. That's it. Okay. Any questions or concerns on this problem? All right, make sure once again, you just remember the rules. A straight line is 180 and a triangle is also 180. Okay, I want everybody to solve this question. I'm going to release a poll. Here we have a right triangle has one side with a length of 3 and a hypotenuse of 13. What is the length of the other leg? So read this one, solve, and let's see what you get. Okay, put your answer into the poll. If you don't see the poll, then message me privately. Take another 20 seconds. All right, take the last 10 seconds. Last 10 seconds, put your answer into the poll. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very good. I had 15 answers, so it's probably the same 3 students that are not participating, or 2 students actually. Okay, probably same two students. Okay, so I got 15, and you guys all got that question correct. Very good. You guys know how to do Pythagorean theorem. That's what I wanted to see. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So right here we do 3 squared plus b squared equals 13 squared. 9 plus b squared equals 169. You subtract 9 on both sides, you get b squared equals 160. Then you take the square root of 160, which they are trying to trick you guys by leaving it as 4 root 10. All you do is you pull out the 16, so you get square root of 16, which is 4, with root 10 left. Very good. Awesome. Okay, you guys are comfortable with that. No concerns there. Let's move on to medium. So that's triangle is medium. Let's take a look at number 1. So I'm gonna launch a poll, see if you guys can solve this question as well. And then I'm going to explain how to do this one. So take a look at number 1. Here you have an isosceles triangle that has a base of 12 and a height of 8. What is the perimeter? So try to solve this question. I'll give you guys about a minute and a half, and then we'll review together. All right, take another 20 seconds. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so for this one we had less votes, probably because I gave you guys 2 minutes, which is probably what you'd have on the test. So I'm sure timing, and also the fact that this is a harder question. Most of you guys said C, which not the right answer in this case. I'm going to show you guys how to tackle this one. But you have an isosceles triangle, which looks like this. All right, these two sides are the same. The base here is 12. So the base here is 12. And they said the height is 8. So the height is this guy right here. So that in there is 8. So we want to know what is the perimeter. So for those of you who put 28, I think you put 8 on the outsides here and then add it all together, which you can't do that. So what you want to do is then you create like this little triangle right there. So you just you create a triangle like this, like a half triangle. It's going to be a right angle. And the way that's going to look is it's going to look like this. The height is 8. The base is 12 divided by 2, which is 6. And you have 6 squared plus 8 squared equals 10 squared. So then you know your hypotenuse is 10. So this is 10 because it's isosceles. So you have 10, 10, and 12, which gives me 32. So my right answer is A. Okay. So that's how we solve this question right here. Perimeter formula. Perimeter is just the sum of all the sides. So you just add up all the sides. That's perimeter. Okay, so it's not necessarily formula. How do I get 10? I did a Pythagorean theorem because I knew this was 6 right here, and I knew this was 8. So I do 6 squared plus 8 squared equals what squared? The reason why I did it so fast is because you guys remember, here, let me draw. You guys remember the triangle, a special right triangle called 3, 4, 5, right? 3, I can't see that. Right here. 3, 4, 5, right? So what's double 3? 6. What's double 4? 8. What's double 5? 10. So every multiple of 3, 4, 5 also works. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 9, 12, 15, right? So any multiple of 3, 4, 5. So 6 squared plus 8 squared is 10 squared. And then once I know that's 10, then this side right here is 10, and because of isosceles, that side is also 10. Does that make sense, though? Cool. Now, good questions. Don't hesitate to ask. Let's take a look at the next one once again. That one is a little tricky. That was a tough question. Oh, wait. Yep, sorry. How did you get 32? Oh, once I knew the base was 12, and then these sides were each 10, I then did 10 plus 10 plus 12, which gives me 22 plus 12, which is 32. I just added up all the sides to get perimeter. That kind of makes sense? Okay, perfect. Okay, good. So you guys are cool with that one. Let's take a look next and do. And once again, I appreciate everybody asking questions, by the way. That definitely helps me explain to make sure you guys know what's going on. Let's do number 5. Number 5. I'm going to walk you guys through. Actually, you guys can see my entire screen, right? Can you still see the questions and the answer choices? Everybody can see A, B, C, D, all the answers in the question? Yes? Okay. So I'm going to release a poll. Take a shot. No. Okay. All right. So I got some yeses, some nos. I'm going to go through it then. So here they're saying B equals 60. So what is B? What's lowercase b? Right here. These are lowercase b. So they're saying those angles are 60. So I'm going to do, so this is 60. And this is 60. Then they're saying how much greater is the perimeter of ABC than the perimeter of XYZ? So think about it. If this is 60 and this is 60, that's 120. That means this angle here also has to be 60. So if these angles are all 60, you have 60, 60, 60. That means that that triangle is something called equilateral, which means all the sides are the same. So if this is 7, then this is 7, and this is 7. So the perimeter, we're dealing with perimeter. So perimeter is all the sides added up. So if this is 7, this is 7, this is 7, I add everything up, that gives me 21. Okay. Now, that's the triangle on the right. What about the triangle on the left? So that one's 21. I've got to figure out the triangle on the left. So that one here is going to be, well, we don't know anything about the angles here for this one. But what we do know is that each angle represents the side that it looks at. So what do I mean by that? This angle A looks at a 12. So this angle A also needs to be looking at a 12 because it's isosceles. So that means this one is 12, this one is 12. So 12 plus 12 is 24. 24 plus 7 is 31. So the perimeter of this triangle is 31. So you've got, the question now is asking for how much greater is the perimeter of the ABC triangle versus XYZ. Well, now all we do is 31 minus 21, which gives me 10. Okay. Does that make sense? Any questions or concerns? How do we know that triangle XYZ is equilateral? Well, they told me B was 60. So this was 60 and this was 60. And I know a triangle has to be 180. So that forces this third angle to also be 60 because 60 plus 60 is 120 and 120 plus 60 is also 180. So it forces all the angles to be 60. If all the angles are equal, then all the sides are equal, so it's equilateral. Does that make sense? Okay, perfect. All right, so then we know 31 minus 21, which gives me 10. So my answer is just going to be 10. All right, any questions or concerns, just message me, let me know. But that one's going to be 10. Okay, let's take a look next. Let's do We're going to do 7 and 8, and then we'll move on. Let's take a look at number 7 here. Number 7. So I'm going to post. Can everybody see the first 3 choices? You don't need to see the last one. First 3 choices. Okay. So I'm going to submit and relaunch a poll. Okay, so read this question and solve it. Oh, yes, I'll relaunch the poll. Yes, no, you guys can. Okay, yeah, once you have your answer, just throw that into the poll. You don't have to worry about seeing all the answers. The answer will be one of the first 3. So D, for someone who put D, I don't even know why, because you can't even see that answer choice and it's not that. So I don't know if you guys are guessing, but it's going to be A, B, or C. A, B, or C. All right, so some of you can't see the poll, but you messaged me the answer. Okay. Yes, that's correct. So yeah, so most of you put C, which is 9. That's correct. Let's see. Let me erase that. Answer C, 9. Very good. So the reason why we know it's 9 is because here we have a 30, 60, 90. So ready, look right here. This is 60. This is 90. So this is 30. So if you guys remember, the 30, 60, 90 looks like this. 60, 30. So whatever is across from 30 is x. Whatever is across from 60 is x root 3. And whatever is across from the 90 is 2x. So they said that this right here is 2x. This is the 18. So if 2x is 18, that means I know x is 9. So this would be 9, 9 root 3, and then 2x. Yep. Okay, so that one's good. No questions or concerns there. That one's just 30, 60, 90, which you'll have the setup on the formula sheet. Let's take a look next at number 8. Number 8. And yeah, if you got that question another way, yeah, you can also take a look and realize that, oh, okay, this one is, another way to do is like this is 60, this is probably 60, this is 60. You have equilateral, half of 18 is 9. So that's another way you did it. But yeah, as long as you guys got the answer of 9, that's okay. Okay. Let's take a look at number 8. Number 8. I want you guys to message me your answer privately in the chat. This is an open-ended question. Read this one, set it up, and message me your answer personally. Okay, so put your answer in the chat. Let me know what you think. What is the value of A, B? Yeah, very good. Those of you who messaged me so far, you guys are correct. Okay, so most of you guys who messaged me got it correct. Let me just make sure and chime in here. So they said AC is 1400, so this right here is 1400. They said CD is 500, so this right here is 500. They said BC is 1000, so this right here is 1000. And then they said DE is 600. So in that case, we want to know what is AB. Ready? So here's what we do. We have to match them up. This right here is angle B, and this is D, which they give us a little line. So that means this side, CE, and this side, 1400, match up. Okay? So just keep that in mind. They also know, we know these two right here are vertical angles. So that means this side, DE, and this side, AB, match up. So then naturally, that leaves me with these two sides, 1000 and 500. Those two sides are proportional. So 1000 is twice as big as 500. That means this triangle on the left is twice as big. So if this is 1400, then this is 700. If this is 600, then this is 1200. So your answer is 1200. Okay? So you have to recognize, match up the sides. The triangle on the left is twice as big as the triangle on the right. So we know that one has to be 1200. Okay, any questions, issues, or concerns on that? How do we know it's double the size? Because this number right here is 500 and this one is 1000. So because 1000 is twice as big as 500, that means I know all the other sides are also twice as big. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, perfect. So that one's 1200, very good. So number 8, 1200. Let's move on to the next topic, that's triangles. I want to next do circles. Okay. So what essentially I want to do here is for circles to take a look at just some of these concepts and topics to make sure everyone's comfortable with that. So circles here is a couple of things. Circles, arcs, and sectors. Circles, arcs, and sectors. Circles, we know, all have a 360 degrees, right? That's a full circle, 360 degrees. We also know the area right here is pi r squared, and we know the circumference is 2 pi r. So you want to make sure you're familiar with those formulas, okay? Then we have 2 pi radians. So pi radians is 360 degrees. So you just get that pi radians by itself is 180 degrees. Okay, so pi radians by itself is 180 degrees. And then we have diameter, which diameter is just going to be double the radius. So diameter is double your radius. All right, any questions on anything on this slide? Any questions on anything on that slide? Okay, looks like for the most part you guys are comfortable there. Any questions? What are radians? Radians is like a unit. There's 2 pi radians in a circle, and you usually convert from radians to degrees. So I know some of you guys in your calculator, like your graphing calculator, you deal with radians and degrees. But radians is just kind of like a measure, a unit measure. and you want to be able to convert between radians and degrees. So whenever you see pi radians, just replace it with 180. All right, so if you have, for example, 2 pi radians, all you do is right here, pi radians, you see that pi radians, replace it with 180. So then you have 2 times 180, and that's how we got 360. Okay, so just remember pi radians is 180. Yep, no problem. Okay, and now the next and most difficult concept right here is this bottom part, arcs and sectors. So let me see if I can best explain arcs and sectors here. What's going on is we have the area of a sector. So area of a sector is dependent upon the area. So right here, does everybody see it right here? A sector is just a portion of a circle. So this right here is a sector. I'm just coloring it in right now. Everybody see that? That's a sector. All right. So they want to find the area of that sector of the circle. So what you need to do is you need to find the area of the total circle, which is pi r squared. Find the area of the total circle and then multiply it by the angle measure of that sector, which is this angle measure over 360. Okay. So for example, let's say that angle measure in there was 60. This one was 60 degrees. Then you would do the area, which they use 12 pi here as an example. You do 12 pi times 60 over 360, and that's going to give you 2 pi, which is the area of this sector. Okay. Now, same thing with the length of an arc. Very same thing. Length of an arc is similar to area of the sector. So let's take a look at this right here, this arc, A to B. All right, so let's say I want to find the length of this arc right here from A to B. You guys see that? What I do is I take the circumference of a circle because arc length has to do with the circumference. So the circumference is 2 pi r. So here they used is as 8 pi. So I take 8 pi, which is circumference, and then I multiply by the angle measure of that sector. What is the angle measure? 90 degrees. And I put it over 360. So I do 8 pi times 90 over 360, which is just 1/4 of 8 pi, which is 2 pi. The reason why that looks like 12 pi is because they're boxing out the question. Done. Okay, so that's how we do length of an arc and area of a sector. That's important. That's going to be honestly a hard question on the test, but I just want to make sure you guys felt comfortable with that. Any questions, issues, or concerns? Okay, so here's what I wanted to, oh, and there's actually one more thing I need to teach for circles. I think it's right about here. Okay, perfect. One more thing I want to teach for circles and sectors, and then we're going to do a couple of example problems. Once we finish this topic, we'll take a little 5-minute break, regroup, and then finish the rest of the topics today. So circles, arcs, and sectors. Right here. You guys want to write this down. Please write this down. Everybody on your piece of paper, on a napkin, on a note card, I don't care. Write this down. This is the equation of a circle. That will come up on the test. You need to know that. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. That equation does not come up on your formula sheet. Most equations do. That is the one that does not. So that's not on the formula sheet, but you need to know it. Okay? So I recommend, if you have a graphing calculator, to put it in your graphing calculator. That's one way of doing it without having to worry about that. But that's probably the best way of going about it. Okay? So make sure you put that into your graphing calculator. Now, I've got x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. How can you put it in your calculator? There is a, let me send you guys all an email. How can I do this the best way? So I have an email of a bunch of links of YouTube videos that show you guys how to take and program formulas into your calculator. What I can do is, I'm going to go to my Gmail. I'm going to send you guys the link. I think I have all of you guys. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to send you guys an email. ACT prep. Hold on. Yeah, ACT calculator. Right there. This is the email. Nope, it's not. There's an email that I have that I sent out to a bunch of students that has Oh, right here, ACT review. Okay, perfect. This is the email. So this is going to show you guys math form. This is also going to give you guys the Google Slides as well as the cheat sheet. This one was specifically for the ACT. You guys can put these calculator and these formulas in for the SAT as well. It doesn't hurt. ACT, SAT doesn't matter. So I'm going to just forward this to everybody. You know what? Let me do this. Let me do this later after class so I can get everybody's email. I think I have all of you guys, but I'm going to send it to you guys email. This entire right here, this entire email, I'm going to forward this to you guys. There's going to be YouTube videos on how to add math formulas for the calculator section and a link as well how to do that. So I'm going to send you guys this information. Yes, and yes, of course, my pleasure. There's also Google Slides for our math and English presentations, which you guys can also review that. And there's also a practice test link. This is for the ACT, so you can ignore that. But then there's also a cheat sheet that's attached below. So if you look at the attachment, here's a cheat sheet. So a math cheat sheet that looks like this. And it's like a one-page front and back cheat sheet. Okay. And then the slides and then YouTube videos. So all of that's going to be great information. So you can have that. So I'm going to send you guys that as well. But I will do that after class once I can just take all of your emails and just forward it all to everybody. But yes, thank you for asking for that. Okay, so back to this equation. That's the equation. The h comma k is the center of the circle, and the r is the radius. Okay, so the h comma k is the center. So if you have an equation, like for example, this is an example of a circle. X minus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 16. So the center is right here, 3 comma negative 2. So you go over 3 down 2. That's the center. Because this is 16, that means your radius is 4. So you go over 4, up 4. And then you just draw a nice little circle like that. Okay? So we're going to do something called completing the square, which you guys probably learned in school, might have forgotten, so I'm going to walk you through. But let's say you have this problem right here on the test, and they ask you to complete the square. What you do is you take your x's and you put your x's together, so x squared and 4x, and you put it in parentheses and you leave space because we're going to put a number there. And we do the y squared plus 6y. Once again, put parentheses, leave space, and you're going to set it equal to 12. Okay? Now, we need to add a number here and here. And the way we figure out what that is you take your middle term, you divide it by 2, and you square it. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So I need a plus 4 here. Whatever I do to the left side, I have to do to the right side. So I do plus 4 here. Now here I've got 6. You take 6, you divide 6 by 2, you get 3. 3 squared is 9. So I need a plus 9 here. So I need a plus 9 here. Okay. Now this breaks into x plus 2 squared. And this breaks into y plus 3 squared. And this breaks into 12 plus 4, which is 16. 16 plus 9 is 25. So this right here is the equation of the circle. So my center would be negative 2 comma negative 3, and then my radius would be 5. Okay, so that's called completing the square. Take a second, write that down, make sure you guys feel comfortable. And then if you guys write that down, I'm going to give everybody a 5-minute break. So you guys can run to the bathroom, get a drink, get a snack, take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and we'll review some of the problems here. Any questions before we take a break? Okay. So take a break. Be back by 4:03 p.m. Okay, so everyone take a 5-minute break, go to the bathroom, get a drink, water, refresh, write this down, and then we will be back by 4:03 to take a look at some questions together. All right, we'll be right back. All right, so everybody should be back now. We're going to take a look at some of the questions here that we wanted to review for circle sectors. Also going to finish up lesson 5 and 6 and then move on. Once again, any questions here that we talked about lesson 5, please let me know. Otherwise, let's take a look and start off with easy. So we're going to do easy, and we're going to do, that one's going to be fairly simple for you guys. Okay, this question, everybody should be able to get this correct. If you got this wrong, I'm going to be disappointed. No, but seriously, in all seriousness, this one should be very straightforward as long as you wrote down the circle formula. Okay, here they're saying a circle has a center of 1, 2 and a radius of 3. Which of the following is the equation of the circle? Okay, I'm going to launch a poll. I want you guys to put your answer into the poll. And if you don't see the poll, message me personally. All right, so far I only have the right answers, which is good. All right, take another 10 seconds, put your answer in, make sure you have the right answer because I only have a few responses. Oh, you guys didn't get the, some of you guys didn't get the poll. Okay, let me restart the poll. Let's see if you guys get it this time. Okay, put your answer in again. Everyone, if you have their answer, please put that into the poll. I still don't see you guys. All right, let me try one more time. Okay, I've got the poll. I'm relaunching it. Continue. Okay, you guys should be able to see the poll now. Anybody have any issues? Huh. A lot of you messaged me privately saying the poll is not letting you guys submit. Very weird. Still didn't get it. Okay. Yes, essentially everyone's correct. You guys are all right. The answer is D. I don't know why the poll's not working. I'm going to refresh and try it up again. But yes, the correct answer is D. The center is 1, 2, so it's going to be x minus 1 squared plus y minus 2 squared, and the radius is 9. Perfect. You guys all wrote that down correctly. Very good. Let's try this question. I want you guys to read this question, put your answer into the poll, and let's review. I just launched the poll, so hopefully it comes up this time. But read the question, see what you think, put your answer in the poll. If not, message me privately. Oh, you guys still don't see the poll. What the heck? Let's see. Let me try again. Relaunch poll. What about now? Can you guys see the poll? Oh, there we go. I don't know what's going on. Sorry about that. It seemed like the poll wasn't coming up. But yeah, put your answer in. Everyone who messaged me, you guys are correct. For those of you who messaged me and asked me, you guys are correct so far, but make sure you put your answer into the poll. All right, take like another 20 seconds. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, only got a couple of votes, but you guys are correct. The right answer here is 28 pi. Very good, very good. So the reason why this one is 28 pi is because of a couple of things. I'm going to kind of work through that and explain why. Let me stop that. Clear. Okay. So what we want to do is they want to know how much greater is the area of the large pi versus the small pi. So the large pi here has a diameter of 12. So remember, when you're solving for area, area is pi r squared. That's the area of a circle. If they're giving us the diameter, we need to know what is the radius. So the diameter is 12, so the radius is 6. And the other one has a diameter of 16, so the radius is 8. So find the area of both of them. So if the radius is 8, you do pi r squared, which is 64 pi. And here, if the radius is 6, then you do pi r squared, which is 36 pi. So they want to know how much greater is it. So you do 64 pi minus 36 pi, which is 28 pi. Okay. So make sure you take the diameter information, divide it by 2 to get the radius, and then find the area of both of them. All right, so that's number 4. Looks like you guys are comfortable with that. Let's take a look next and do number 5. Number 5, I'm going to walk you guys through this one. Okay, they're saying actually this one, message me the answer privately. You guys should be able to do this one on your own. This was not difficult. I'll walk you guys through the medium questions. Do this one on your own and message me your answer privately. Okay, everybody who messaged me so far, you guys are correct. I haven't seen a wrong answer yet. Yep, all the answers so far are correct. If I don't respond to you, that means you are correct. Okay, take another 30 seconds. Message me your answer. Yes, perfect. Very good. So the answer is 6. Very good. Okay, so all we have to do here is we just want to know the circumference is 24. What is the length of arc AB? So AB is right here. So we know this is a 90-degree measure. So we know we take this total circumference, which is 24, and we multiply by the angle measure, which is 90 over 360, because that's a circle. Which 90 over 360 is just 1/4. So you just get 24 times 1/4. So 1/4 of 24 is just 6. Are the equations of the length of an arc and the area of the sector given on the exam? No, those are not. The length of an arc and area of a sector, those are not given on the exam. So you have to write those down. You have to remember those, unfortunately. But you can put them in your calculators. Okay. So make sure if you have graphing calculators, then you can enter into the calculator. But yeah, so the answer here is going to be 6. You just take 1/4. Also, here's another way to look at it. They just cut this pi in half twice. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So you just take 24 and divide it by 4, and you get 6. That's another way to look at it. Okay? So number 5 is 6. Let's take a look at medium. I want us to do medium. Medium number 4. I want you guys to message me your answer privately. This is, once again, same topic with arcs lengths. Take a look at this question, read it, and message me your answer privately. Okay. Okay, so some of you guys give me an answer. You could leave it in terms of pi. You can leave it in terms of pi. So if you gave me a decimal, that's okay. But you can leave it in terms of pi. Okay, so for those of you, I'm going to go through it just shortly. Take another. No. 3, yes. Okay, perfect, good. Okay, awesome. A lot of participation. I got everybody messaging me. Very good. So let me just double check to make sure this is how you guys did it. They want to know what is the arc length of AB, right? And this is a hard question, by the way, that you'll see on the test, which majority of you guys got the right answer, so I'm happy with that. So this is arc length AB right here. This is what they want to know. So what do? You take, because we're dealing with arc length, we need the circumference, which is 2 pi r, and then we multiply by the angle measure, which is 60 over 360. That's it. So what is my r? We need the radius. What's the radius? Well, they said diameter is 20, so my radius is 10. So that means I know the circumference is 20 pi, and I multiply that by 60 over 360, which if you put that in your calculator, that's 1/6. So you're going to get 20 pi over 6, which is the same thing as 10 pi over 3, which some of you, when you put in your calculator, that gave you approximately 10.5, which is fine too. Okay? So that's going to be the answer. So make sure you guys write that down so you feel comfortable with that. But that is the correct answer there for number 4. So it'd be 10 pi over 3 is what they had. Okay. Any questions or concerns on how we did this one? I want to make sure everyone's comfortable. Okay. Good. So let's take a look at the next one. Let's take a look at number 5 as well. Message me your answer privately, and then we'll review number 5. Okay, so everyone who's messaging me, you guys are all correct. I haven't gotten a wrong answer yet. So let me give another 20 seconds for everybody else to tackle. Okay, yep, very good. So most of you guys put 16 pi, which is correct, because we know this right here is 8, which this width, we know the circle is tangent, so that means the diameter is also 8. So if diameter is 8, that means the radius is 4, and if the radius is 4, then the area is pi r squared, which is 16 pi. Very good, very good. All right, so 16 pi, perfect. All right, any concerns on that one? I think you guys are okay. Okay, good. So let's move on to the next topic. You guys are comfortable with that. I want us to take a look at So 2D and 3D objects, this is all about volumes. So I want you guys to, let's just do, there's one question I want us to do, and then we'll move on. Let's take a look at this question. Okay, I'm going to give you guys the equation for the volume. Volume equals pi r squared h. Okay. Okay, v equals pi r squared h. So take a look at number 4, message me your answer privately. Yep, everyone who's sending me a message, you guys are all correct. Okay, very good. So pretty much everyone's correct. A few of you guys got the wrong answer by making a little mistake. So look, the volume here is 80 pi, and you get pi r squared h. So you get rid of the pi on both sides. And then the h is 5. So you get 80 equals r squared times 5. Then you divide both sides by 5. 80 divided by 5, you get 16 equals r squared. And you take the square root of both sides, you get r equals 4. Okay. So now, a lot of you messaged me and said your answer is 4, but what are they asking for? The diameter. There you go. Exactly. Very good. So our answer is actually 8, not 4. Okay. So make sure you just read the question once you solve for everything. Make sure you put exactly what you need. Okay. Any issues, questions, or concerns? Okay, very good. So that one's volume. That's it. That one I think you guys are okay with. The nice thing about volume, this topic, is they give you all the formulas in the front. They give you all the formulas. You don't have to worry about that. Okay. So that's good. So, and next let's do trig. Let's take a look at trig really quick so we can move on to lesson 6. Trig here is so ka toa. There's no difficult trig on the SAT. The ACT has like law of sines, law of cosine. It gets a little bit more complicated. The SAT, it's not. Okay. So ka toa, sine, cosine, tangent. Okay. All right. So let's take a look. Let's do easy. I want everybody to tackle this question. You know what? Let me make sure you guys all know. So sine, cosine, tangent, right? So ka toa. So if they want sine C, you find C, you use sine. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite over hypotenuse. That's it. Your answer is A. That's simple. Just know sine, cosine, tangent. It's going to be one of those three, and just make sure you pick the right angle. Okay, so this one should be pretty straightforward. The trig on this test is very straightforward. Okay. Let's do number. Okay, you guys should be able to see this one. Message me your answer. For the right triangle, what is the value of x? I want you guys to find x. Message me your answer, or you can just put A, B, C, or D. You should be able to see all the answer choices right here. This is A, this is B, C, or D. So just message me A, B, C, or D. Yep, everyone who's messaging me so far, you guys are all correct. Okay, so I only had a couple of you gave me the wrong answer, but most of you guys are correct. Very good. So you want to know x, right? So what do we know? We know hypotenuse and we know adjacent. We know we have to use this 34 degrees. That's what we have. So this is adjacent. This is hypotenuse. So adjacent and hypotenuse is ka, which is cosine of 34 is adjacent over hypotenuse. So then I just need to get the x by itself. So I move the x over, so I get x equals cosine 34 equals 12. Divided by the cosine 34, x equals 12 over cosine 34. So the correct answer is B, which most of you guys sent me. Okay. Any questions, issues, or concerns? Adjacent is the side next to, the side across from. So like, for example, you see, everyone see how this is 34 degrees? The side that it looks at, that's considered opposite. Adjacent is the one that it's next to. So adjacent just means next to. Like, think about like your adjacent neighbor. Opposite is the side that's across. So opposite is the one that faces that it looks at. How do you know which one to use? You always use whichever angle they give us. So because they give us 34 degrees, then we have to use based off this angle. And because we have 12 and x, then we know this is adjacent and this is hypotenuse. So because adjacent hypotenuse, you need ka, which is cosine. Does that make sense? I got a couple questions about that. I just want to make sure you guys are comfortable with that. We'll do another example problem as well. So for trig, we focus on the angle to get x. Yeah, it depends on what they're asking for. Sometimes they're going to ask for the angle, or they'll ask for one of the sides, or they'll just give you x. They can really play around with this, however. But you really just want to know, as long as you know SO, ka, TOA, sine, opposite, hypotenuse, cosine, adjacent, hypotenuse, TOA, tangent, which is opposite, adjacent. Okay? And then you just use whatever information they give us. Sometimes they may give us two sides, and you want to find an angle. Sometimes they may give us an angle on one side, and you want to find the other side. So you just want to be able to manipulate that in any way possible. Can we do more practice of these, please? Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's take a look at another one. That one's B. Okay, let's take a look at this question. I'll walk you guys through this question, for example. This one is going to be hard if you don't have a graphing calculator to do. This one's going to be a little bit difficult. But the way we take a look at this problem here is, so we have this angle x. So last time they just gave us an angle measure on one of the sides. This time we have two sides and no angle measure. So we have to use this x. Okay, so we have that x. We know it has to be in terms of this x. So what do we have? We have the opposite side and we have the adjacent side. We do not have the hypotenuse. Okay, so perfect. Someone messaged me TOA. Very good. We're going to use TOA. We have opposite and adjacent. So we use tangent of x is equal to opposite, which is 6, over adjacent, which is 7. That's it. So now the question is asking for x. So essentially it's like, so what you do is tangent of what number gives me 6 over 7. So for those of you who have a graphing calculator, what you would do to solve this to get just the x by itself is you would do, oh, let me change the color. You do something called inverse tan, which is tan to the negative 1. Tan to the negative 1. So tan to the negative 1 and tan would cancel. So you're going to get x equals tan to the negative 1 of 6 over 7. And honestly, I don't have a graphing calculator on me, but if anyone has an answer, they can message me, but I'm just taking an educated guess. Actually, I have no clue. Tan of one of the D, thank you. Tan of 40.6 is going to give me 6 over 7. Thank you. Yeah, if you have a graphing calculator, you just do. Oh, it's also called arctan or tan to the negative 1. It's called inverse tan, arctan. That's how you get rid of tan. So then you just do arctan of 6 over 7, which gives us 40.6. Okay, so we're going to do another one together, but that's just how we tackle that. Any questions on that? It's also on a scientific calculator. Yeah, it should be on a scientific calculator, not just a graphing calculator. Oh, crap, look what I'm looking at. Graphing calculator, right here. Okay, so it is if you have this graphing calculator and you guys can see this, might have a little bit of glare. Let's see if I can get some more sunlight in here. Okay, so maybe that helps a little bit. So this calculator is the TI-84. If you have this calculator, it's going to be right above tangent, right? So you guys see where tangent is? Right there, there's tangent. Tangent, right? Right above tangent, it says tan to the negative 1. So you would just do second, you would click second right here, and then you would click tangent. So right above tangent. How do you plug this into your calculator? Yep, so ready? So you're going to do, oh, this one has no batteries. I don't believe. No, batteries, but it doesn't work. So anyways, you would take, in your calculator, you put tan to the negative 1. Yeah, batteries are dead. So anyways, but you take tan to the negative 1, you click tan to the negative 1, and then you plug in 6 divided by 7, and then you click enter. That's going to give you your answer. Is arctan the same thing as cotangent? No, there's no cotangent on this test. Don't worry about cotan or cosine or we need cosine, but don't worry about cosecant or secant or cotan. Don't worry about any of that. So to find sine, cosine, tangent, we always need to use the inverse to find x. Yeah. It depends once again what the question's asking. So we're going to take a look at another one, but yes, for the most part, yes. Take a look at another question. Okay, so now here's a word problem. So based off this word problem, they're going to give us some information. We're going to take that information and we're going to try to solve what they're saying. Okay. So here's what we do. So we have a ladder, and there's some brutal storm. Kyle needs to fix a satellite on his roof. To get on top of the roof, he needs to get a ladder. He needs to put it up against the roof like this. So here's like the house, right there, little home, just like that, right? So you got his little house here. You got the gist of it. And then what we need is we just need this side of the wall. And he's going to put a ladder to get up there. So guess what? We have a triangle, okay? So they're saying the base of the ladder is 3 feet away. So the base is this right there, just 3 feet away. And then the ladder creates a 65-degree angle. So this right there and there, that's 65 degrees. $65-degree angle. Okay. And they want to know what do they want to know? How high above the ground is the roof? Oh, so they want to know this. Because they want to know how high is the roof. So we have, okay, so we have 3. So look at, we have 65 degrees, right? So what's next to 65? Adjacent, which is 3, right? So 3 is adjacent. And then we want to solve for opposite. Let's call this x. So we have adjacent, we have opposite. So once again, TOA. So we're going to do tan of 65 is equal to opposite, which is x, over adjacent, which is 3. That's the equation. Okay. Tan of 65 equals opposite, which is x, over 3. Okay. So then we just solve for that. Tan of 65, once again, don't have a calculator, so it's going to give us some number. So let's say we got an answer B. Let me just make sure we have the work. Let me take a look at the work below. Yeah, 6.4. Right, very good. Yes, right here. So they take a look. They've got tan of 65 is equal to h over 3. Then you move the 3 over to the other side. So you get 3 times tan of 65 equals h. And then you plug in tan 65 into your calculator and you multiply by 3 and you get h equals 6.4. Okay. Any questions on that? Should we be in degrees? Yes, you should. You should be in degrees. Don't be in radians. For this, you want to be in degrees. For the most tests, you want to be in degrees for the matter. So in that case, I would just always plan to be in degrees. All right, does that make sense? Any questions or concerns? Why is it tan of 65 instead of x? You can only take, so we have to isolate the variable and then plug it into the calculator. Correct, yes, you have to isolate the variable and then plug it into the calculator. The reason why it's tan of 65 instead of tan of x is because x is a side. X right here is, x is a side. You can't take tan of a side. You can only take tan of an angle measure. So when you do show or like sine, cosine, or tangent, it can only be of an angle measure. Okay. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So that's trig on this test. This test is not too complicated with trig. It's just sine, cosine, tangent. Are there a lot of trig questions? No. There's probably one. I've almost never seen 2 questions out of the 58 test questions. You'll see one. At most, there will be 2 questions out of 58 that are trig. So very, very, very unlikely to see. But it will be on the test. You will definitely see at least 1. I can guarantee you that. You may see 2, but you'll see at least 1. Now, the other thing I want you guys to all write down, because you'll see this, is sine of x is the same thing as cosine 90 minus x. This is just a concept. You just need to write that down. You just need to remember that. Sine of x is the same thing as cosine 90 minus x. So write that down. Make sure you guys feel comfortable. Okay. Now I want to briefly introduce some topics in lesson 6. Then we'll finish up from today. And then I'm going to have you guys do a little bit of homework, which will be reviewing lesson 6 and 5, honestly, as well. All right, so let's go back, take a look. So that's trig lesson 5 is all good to go. Lesson 6. Now here's your homework. Write this down. We're going to do a couple more things, but here's your homework. We're going to do lesson 5 and 6. Your homework is to, for these questions, do the easy and medium. We did some of them already together. Whatever's not done, do the easy, medium questions for these topics. If you struggle with any of these topics that we just went over, whether it's triangles, circles, 2D, 3D objects, or trig, please watch the video. The videos, if the videos say 20 minutes, they're not really that long. That's 8 minutes of me teaching and 12 minutes of doing problems. So watch at least the first 8 minutes of the video just to make sure you understand the concept, okay? Just to reiterate what we did today, all right? So make sure those are the 4 topics. Your homework is easy, medium for those 4 topics. Finish up that. Most of that we did during class. Now, your homework is also to do all the easy, medium questions for lesson 6, all right? And this will be due for next week. Now, of course, this is like a college class. I'm not going to hound you guys down if you don't do your homework. The direct satisfaction that you guys are going to get from doing your homework is by learning the material, and that's going to then translate to the test. And the score will then translate, obviously, to other things. So we want to make sure that you guys learn it, practice it. Please go through it so that way I know that you guys feel comfortable with this material. I truly, genuinely want you guys all to do well in this test. And I know that all of you can because you're here in this class putting the effort to learn the material, okay? So that's why I'm here to help you guys out. If you have questions, make a list of questions and then send them to me. And then next class, I'll go through everything with you guys, okay? But make sure you guys go through the videos and tackle easy and medium problems. You go through that, you feel comfortable with them, and then you can move on, all right? Because geometry is about 20 to 25% of the test. About 1/4, about out of every 4 or 5 questions, you'll get at least one geometry. So about 20 to 25% of the test is geometry. So not a lot, but it's a significant amount if you want to make sure you get a higher score. So that's why I want you guys to practice that, go through everything, and tackle these questions, okay? So that was your homework. Easy and medium problems for lessons 5 and lesson 6. I'm going to go through as much as I can in the rest of the, what do we have, 15 minutes or so, but that's your homework, okay? I'm going to talk about coordinate planes and then angles. You guys are going to do the rest for homework. Any questions? Nope. Okay. All right. Coordinate planes and slopes. Coordinate planes. So this topic is all about, your XY coordinate plane. So you have your X plane, which is right here, your X axis. Then you have your Y axis. We know our origin is 0, 0. You've got your 4 quadrants, quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So you got our 4 quadrants. We also have slope, which slope is rise over run. It's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's your slope. Okay, so you want to make sure you're comfortable with a couple of these things. These are just a couple of concepts that you'll see that are going to come up on the test. You also want to remember that if they say the word parallel, if 2 lines are parallel, that means they have the same slope. Okay, they're parallel, that means they have the same slope. If they're perpendicular, that means they have negative reciprocal slope. So I'm going to give you guys an example. So for example, if you have a slope of 2 and they're perpendicular, that means you flip it to get 1/2 and you put a negative in front of it. Okay, so that's perpendicular. So these are a couple things you want to be comfortable with. Okay. All right, let's take a look at an example. You guys will do most of this stuff easy medium for homework. I want to make sure. Okay. Everyone needs to be able to get this question correct. Message me. I launched a poll, so put your answer in the poll. If you didn't get it, message me your answer privately. This is easy number 3. Easy number 3. All right, take another 15 seconds. Make sure you put your answer in. All right, another 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I only got 8 votes out of 17. So I'm not sure. Oh, no, wait. That's not true. I've got 12, 1, 13. I got 15. Okay, perfect. So I've got most of you guys. So I got 15 votes. Very good. You guys are correct for the most part. Answer is C. So let's take a look. Once again, this is slope. How do we find slope? The equation is just an equation. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 here is 6. y1 here is 2. So 6 minus 2 over x2 is 5 minus x1, which is 7. So you get 4 over negative 2, which is negative 2. That's it. That's slope. Okay? So you guys should be comfortable with that. No concerns there. That's slope. Make sure you just remember y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Let's take a look at another example. Make sure you guys feel comfortable. We are going to do this one right here. Take a minute, read this question, write it down, and please put your answer into the poll. All right, take another 10 seconds. Okay. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I got about 13 votes for this one. Okay, so most of you guys put A, which is -3/4. Very good. So once you solve this, it's not just a matter of finding what's next to the x. It's not 3, which nobody here put, which is good. What you need to do whenever they give you an equation, you want to find the slope, is you need to put into y equals mx plus b form. So you need to have y equals mx plus b, and then it's whatever's next to the x. So you just move the 3x to the other side, so you get 4y equals -3x plus 12, and then we divide everything by 4 and get y equals -3 over 4x plus 12 over 4, which is 3. And then that's why our answer is -3 over 4, because it's whatever's next to the x. All right, does that make sense? Good. Okay, and let's take a look at, is there anything else? I think for the most part you guys are okay. Okay, yeah, you guys will be okay. So once again, do easy, medium, tackle that for homework. Let's take a look. Number lines and line segments. This is all about like distance formula, which normally you can use using Pythagorean Theorem. So let's just go through one example for number lines and line segments. Start off with easy. I'm going to walk you guys through. Actually, I guess it's in medium. Yes, this is the course I want to do. This one. So there's two things they can ask you to do. They can ask you to find the midpoint of 2 points. So you would just take the points. So for example, let's say they gave me those 2 points, 2, 3 and 4, 5, and I want to find the midpoint. All I do is I take my x's, 2 and 4, and I add them and divide by 2. And I take my y's, which is 3 and 5, add them and divide by 2. So that's going to give me 6 over 2 and 8 over 2, which is just 3, 4. So the midpoint of those 2 points would be 3, 4. So if you need to find the midpoint, take the x's, add them together, divide by 2. Take the y's, add them together, divide by 2. Okay? So that's how we solve for midpoint. Now, let's say I want to find the length of the segment. The length of a segment. So here, let me just draw this one out for you guys. 2, 3. So over 2, up 3. And 4, 5. Over 4, up 5. Here's the other point. So they want to know the distance between these two. So this is what they're looking for. Looking for that line between them. So what I can do is I always create a triangle like this. And I just do Pythagorean Theorem. So if this is 2, and this is 4, that means from 2 to 4, this is going to be a distance of 2. And then if this is 3, and this is 5, that means this one's also 2. So it's going to be 2 squared plus 2 squared. So first of all, we know if it's 2, 2. Distance formula, it's this guy. Hold on, let me just finish the problem one second. I'm going to write that in a sec. So yeah, so if this is 2, this is 2, this is going to be 2 root 2. So your answer is just going to be A. So that's how I find distance. I use Pythagorean Theorem. Your distance formula, you can memorize it or write it in your calculator. It's just like re-engineering the Pythagorean Theorem. So it's going to be x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, and then square root of all that. That's your distance formula. So that's another way you can do it as well. I just prefer to do Pythagorean Theorem and kind of draw it out, but whichever you guys feel more comfortable with. All right, so that's your distance formula. Any questions on that? Okay. All right, so that's good. So let's click on back. And let's go to two more things I wanted to do, and we'll be done. Let's do degrees and radians really quick so I can get this out of the way. Degrees and radians, click on easy. This topic is super easy, super easy. Okay. Let's do like number 2. So I mentioned this before when we talked about circles. When you see pi radians, you just replace it with 180 degrees. So here's an example question. What is pi over 4 radians in terms of degrees? So you see how right here we have pi radians? So you just replace that with 180. So essentially you just have 180 over 4, which is 45 degrees. Your answer is D. That's it. Okay? Whenever you see pi and the word radians after it, replace the pi with 180. That's all you have to do. Okay, let's do. All right, well now, what if they want us to convert the other way? What if they tell us 240 degrees and I want it in terms of radians? Well, what you do is you would just divide it by 180. And that would give us 24 over 18, which is pull out a 2, 12 over 9, which pull out a 3, 4 over 3. And then you have to put pi radians. So it would be C. Okay, so if they give you degrees and you want to convert the other way, you just have to divide it by 180. And then whenever you're done, you just put the pi and the radians next to it, because when you're dividing by 180, you're essentially then putting in the pi over 3. All right. Make sure you guys are comfortable with that. Let's take a look at this one. I'm going to launch a poll. Please put your answer into the poll. I want to make sure everyone's comfortable with this question. We're going to answer this and then move on to the last topic, which is angles. So yeah, pi rad is always 180. Yep, that's correct. Okay, so solve this. Put your answer into the poll or message me privately. I'm going to give you guys another 10 seconds. Okay, so we got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, very good. So majority of you guys got, pretty much everybody got D, 300. That's it. You replace the pi with 180. So you do 5 times 180 divided by 3. That's it, and you get 300 degrees. You will see this on the test. Probably you're only going to get one question. This is not popular topic at all. You'll get one question. So make sure you're comfortable with that. All right, so I think you guys are comfortable with that. Let us move on to the last thing that I wanted to do today in lesson 6, which is angles. So angles, this topic here, angles, definitely probably watch the first part of this video. Make sure you get the hang of some of this. You got, topics like an acute angle, which is less than 90. You've got an obtuse, which is greater than 90. Talking about how a straight line is 180, a right angle is 90. Those are just a couple of things you need to know. And then on top of that, there's a few other things which refer to like vertical angles. Supplementary right here, you've got 2 vertical angles. Vertical angles are equal. Supplementary add up to 180. Complementary add up to 90. Just basic couple of things that you should know when it comes to angles, like some concepts. So definitely go through this. One last thing I definitely want to show you guys is how to deal with the degrees of a polygon like this. So let's say you get a polygon and you don't know how many degrees are in the polygon. What you can use is use that equation 180 times n minus 2 right here. That equation tells me how many degrees are in the shape, and n is the amount of size. So for example, we all know that a square has 4 90-degree angles. So how many degrees are in a square? 360. But if we didn't know that, we can use this formula to solve that. So we can plug in 4, because n is the amount of sides, so 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. 4 minus 2 times 180. So 4 minus 2 is just 2. 2 times 180 is 360, which tells me how many degrees are inside that shape. So any 4-sided shape, whether it's a square, a rectangle, a kite, doesn't matter. Any 4-sided shape has 360 degrees. Okay? Are you guys comfortable with that? Okay. So that's the basic gist of angles. Once again, I want to clarify, your homework is lesson 5 and lesson 6, easy and medium problems. Watch the videos, do the problems in the videos, do the problems in the platform. Feel really comfortable with the topics here that we review, which is 5 and 6. Make sure you got geometry down. Next week, we're going to do lesson 7 and 8, which is not going to take us long, and we're going to do practice quiz next week. So I'm going to pull up questions from a practice test. We're going to do a practice quiz. I'm going to post them to the poll. We're going to go through them one by one and make sure we can tackle questions on an actual test together before you guys then move on and do a test on your own for practice test the following week. So next week, I'm going to talk a little bit about lesson 7 and 8, but spend most of my time doing the practice test questions with you guys. Okay? Any other questions before we finish up for today? All right, any other questions, just message me. Otherwise, you guys are good to go. I appreciate you guys taking the time once again. Hope everybody has a good week. Enjoy your weekend. Take the time to practice and study, and we will review next Wednesday the rest of this material, all right? I appreciate it, everybody. If you have any questions, I'll stay for another minute or two, answer any questions. But besides that, enjoy your weekend and stay safe. Thank you, guys. Take care. And always equal to the degrees of the shape. Yeah, so for that equation, oh my God. So for the student that's sending me a message for the question, the always equal to that is the degrees of the shape, yes. So that 180 times n minus 2, the n is the amount of sides, and that answer that it spits out is going to be the degrees of that shape. Yeah. Alrighty. Yep, not a problem. My pleasure. All right, well, hope you have a good weekend, and I will talk to you guys next week. Take care.